Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. So today's video is another more serious toned one, and it's talking about post-college depression, how that is a extremely real thing that a lot of people do not talk about. I mean, we know about depression and anxiety, but we don't talk about like how it can come and stem from graduating college. And so I know that this is the fall, like semester has just ended. You know, a lot of you guys have just graduated, so if you have, congratulations. Such a wonderful accomplishment. I can't believe it's almost been 3 years since I graduated college. But back to the topic at hand. So post-college graduation, I wish that more people would talk about it, because then students would be prepared for it. I'm not saying that it happens to everyone, but it definitely can happen to a lot of students, and it happened to me. And so I think the reason that it happened to me is because I literally crashed after school. I was one of those students where I had to strive for a 4.0, even if I didn't get it, which I didn't, but I got close to it. I wanted to make Dean's List every semester, and I wanted to have lots of internships and, you know, really take that advice that I've gotten from a lot of people, you know, in my time at school, and they're like, you know, if you get all the internships, if you do all the grades, if you make all the connections, then you will get a job after college. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do all that. So I did all that and more. I joined clubs, I did everything that I could possibly do to make sure that I would be successful after college. And then, oh yeah, and because of that, I was very successful in achieving things in college. Like, I would get awards, and like no one would say no, and everything was yes, yes, yes to me all the time, because I put in the hard work. It's not like it was just given to me. I worked really hard for the things that I got during college. So then once the real world comes, I was rejected all the time. Every job I applied for, no. You're great, but no. No, no, no. Or I didn't hear back from anyone. And so I had loans and have loans still, and so I needed a job. And so I feel the pressure from, you know, the government loan, the federal loans, being like, oh, they're due, but I have to defer it again because I don't have a job. And feeling like, you know, you're seeing on social media people like getting jobs all the time, and they're posting their announcement on Facebook, so you feel even more stressed. And then it just keeps coming and coming, and you feel bad on yourself, and you're like, oh, no one's ever gonna say yes to me, no one's ever gonna say yes to me. And so I remember like a few months, maybe 2 months after school, that's when it just like hit really bad, and I was in such a dark place. And I just didn't feel like I was going to achieve anything. I didn't feel like all the dreams that I had for myself were going to come to fruition, because everyone was going to say no. Like, I feel like all the hard work that I had put in college was not enough. And I remember having informational interviews with this one woman, and I think I talked about this in another video, and she, you know, it's for a big media company, and she was like, you can apply for this job, but most likely you won't get hired. And I'm like, but you're the person that could hire me. And I was just like, I felt so defeated. I remember crying in the car with my dad on the way home, like, why would you even tell me that? Why would you tell me to apply for a job when you know you don't want to pick me, you know? And it was just so frustrating that just was happening over and over again. And I just felt like, when is it gonna get better? And ooh, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Even though that was so long ago, but I just felt like I worked so hard and nothing was gonna change. And so yeah, I was watching Netflix all the time. I was in bed all the time. I would get emails on my phone for jobs that were interesting, but I just felt like I couldn't even apply, because I had so much anxiety at that point about being rejected, or like putting in all this effort, because, you know, job applications are like applying to college almost. It's so much information, and I was like, why am I putting in all this effort if I'm just gonna get rejected by someone? And so my mentality was super negative, and then it also affected my health. I got really sick, and I was having like gastrical problems. I don't even know if that's a word, but yeah, I was having that, and like I would get sick, just stomach sick out of nowhere. I remember I was on my brother's going away party, and I got sick, and like I had to rush home. Thankfully we're in the same neighborhood as the restaurant, and I remember going to the doctor. They did like full blood work on me, couldn't find anything. Then we went to the gastro person, I don't want to mess up their name, their title, and I had to swallow this like dark, it's not it was thick white stuff, that made me want to vomit, because it was like you were gagging on it. He's like, you can't throw it up, you can't throw it up, because we're about to start all over. And I'm like, oh my god. And then he had like turn me around and like scare my body and all that stuff. And he was like, you have a little bit of acid reflux and that's it, so nothing's wrong with you. And I'm like, oh my god, so like why am I getting sick? And it never dawned on me that my mental health is causing my body so much pain and stress that you're getting physically sick now. I mean, mentally sick, you can't really see it, but now I'm physically like going to the bathroom all the time and just like breaking down, and I was crying all the time. So it was like I was mentally not feeling good, physically not feeling good, and it just kept being in a loop and a loop and a loop. And the depression was real. So real. And that's why I want people to talk about it. Like, I'm sharing my story with you guys because if people don't talk about it, it'll remain taboo, depression in general. But this is a topic that I feel like schools can prepare students for. I feel like, you know, you have to have an exit review or exit interview or whatever for your college loans. The federal government makes you do that. I don't know about the private loans, but the federal government does. So you need an exit interview for college. There should be therapists for every single student to make sure that they're mentally healthy and okay to go out into the real world, because the real world is no fucking joke. And I had no idea. You know, I thought I was doing the real world with internships and stuff, but no, I was still in a bubble. I was still protected because I was a student, and people are nicer to students than they are to people who are actively looking for a job, especially fresh out of college. And so I think I have more of a different story, because I don't think that how my story ends is how a lot of people's will end, especially with depression, because sometimes, you know, you need medication or a numerous of things. But I remember, you know, well, part of the reason is I had like a lot of lofty dreams, and I still do, and I'm not going to change that about myself, because yeah, I'm just not. And I'm gonna make a video about like how I got my first job, because it relates to this whole thing. So a part of me not getting a job right away is because I didn't want to settle. And, you know, I felt like I worked really hard at internships and I had so much experience. I was like, you know what, I do not want to be someone's assistant. So I work in the media industry, and most people my age are assistants first before they can step up to be anything else. But after going to Cannes and being an assistant there, basically, I knew that that was not for me. Like, I'm not good at following directions like that. Like, clearly I can follow directions, but I'm a leader personality, not like a follower personality. So it's very hard for me to like do the Devil Wears Prada thing and like run to the store for you and blah, 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 and like manage your calendar and like all those things. Like, that's not me. And I didn't want to do that. And so that was my mentality coming out of school and for months and months and months after. So when I finally decided, Rebecca, you need to humble yourself. Yes, you did work a lot, but you need a job, and it'll make you feel so better once you have money coming in. So take any position. And by any, I meant like, you know, an assistant position. And so once I began my search for that, once I began my search for the assistant position, that's when my whole life changed, when I humbled myself. Also, plus humbling myself, plus getting back into what I wanted to do. So what really I think killed the depression is when I got up and said, Rebecca, no matter what, you're going to go out there and you're going to do something that you love to do. And photography is one of those things. And so my friends were in town, and I remember just going on photo shoots with them. And I felt so happy, and I was creative again. It's like, you know, creatives are the people that are most prone to depression, but it was like the creativity in me was beating down the depression now that I was being creative again. Like, I was fighting back in a way. And I just felt so happy, like sharing my photos with my friends and like advertising my photos on Snapchat and like all these things. And I was just like me. And so I was, you know, pushing through such positivity and on my life and speaking positive things into existence, because for months before that I was so negative, because I was like, well, it was me, you know, thinking that being negative will ultimately lead to a positive thing, because I was like, oh, nothing ever good is going to happen for me, thinking that, okay, well, maybe something good is going to happen because I'm thinking negatively. But that's not how it works. You literally have to think positive for positive things to happen. And so yeah, so those two things have really changed my life. You know, I don't want to talk about like what happened right after, but ultimately I did get jobs because I'm employed now. But yeah, just changing my thinking and doing what I loved and getting out of bed and pushing myself, just pushing myself to do one thing that I loved, literally knocked the depression down. And I will say that I did not have to apply for one single job that I had. They came to me. But I think it was because the positivity that I was exuding made the positive things come to me. And so it's like twofold in this video, I feel, because I want you guys to feel comfortable expressing to your friends and your family that you're going through this post-college depression, because it is not easy. It is not easy, especially if you don't know what you want to do. And if you do, it's still hard to like find that right path, especially if you're in the media industry and it's not one direct path leading to success. So yeah, you should feel comfortable talking about it. Like, if you want to chat with me, I'm here, you know, having been through it. But you just talking about it as well, you know, with your friends, they may be going through it too. Like, nobody really talks about these things, so you never know. But you being open and you being honest with it can help someone else. And also just letting you know that, like, I know it feels crazy, like you're never gonna find what you want to do, or no one's ever gonna say yes, but someone's gonna see the amazing star in you, and they are going to love you so much. Like, if I could tell you guys like particular specific details of what happened, you know, where I work and like all those kinds of things, I would, just so you guys can see Faith. But like, I actually go back to my university now and I tell people this story of like, I was, you know, very brief, not this long, but like I was depressed and it was rough, and I was giving up on myself, even though I had accomplished so much in college. But it worked out. It works out. It will work out, because there's no way in the world that if you have worked your ass off, that the universe is not, that God's not gonna come back around and give you what you deserve. There's just no way. I have yet to see that happen. And if you guys have seen it happen, let me know. But I have yet to see that happen. It may take time, but you will always reap what you sow. And so good things. So yeah, I just really just want to say that it's going to be okay. And I know people say that all the time, but it really is. And I know it doesn't feel like it for all of you guys that may have be going through this right now, but give it a few months and just keep pushing yourself, pushing, thinking positive things. I know it's so hard. It's so hard when you're in the midst of that depression, because it's so dark and you feel so alone. But if you take the necessary steps, I promise the necessary steps will come back to you. And yeah, so let me let me let me know in the comments below if you are going through this. You know, if you want to talk privately, let me know. I'm here for you guys. And yeah, I just wanted to spread awareness about this topic and let you guys know that I went through it, and I know other people that have gone through it, and I know kids that when I go to my university, they're like already in it before they even graduate. They're already there, and I'm just telling them it's gonna be okay. Like, you are talented. You have these 4.0 GPAs. You have all these, even more stuff that I even did in college. Like, you're gonna get hired, and life's gonna be beautiful. All right, so I will talk to you guys later. Feel free to like and subscribe and all that jazz, and we'll chat later. Bye.